Well, this morning's call talks about the title, Deal With It. We're going to go into what that means, and that could be a catchy title there, but I have an Uncle Dick, and when my Uncle Dick was working, he was ran a division for Safeway Foods, and in this division, I think there were 60-some locations with thousands of employees each, distribution points, and imagine the bakeries and the different things involved. But in a casual conversation one time about business, and I always loved to hear his input, he had a remarkable statement that said he could tell if a manager was going to be successful or fail with one particular thing, one particular practice. He could tell if a manager was going to be successful or would fail. Well, that would obviously catch my attention, as I love to learn from everybody I possibly can. And he said basically this, that if a manager goes towards the concern that they notice, they go towards it to deal with it, that manager would be successful. If the manager went, instead of towards the issue, to the office to stew on it, to let that idea or concept develop, and gosh, I don't know how I'm going to deal with it. What if I hurt somebody's feelings? What if I upset the apple cart? Or what if I'm no good at dealing with it? I need to map this out, plot it, and plan it. You see, I've had situations where I've seen both the good and bad in each one of these. And really, if you're going to deal with the issue, if you're going towards the concern, you're likely to have an immediate impact on the issue. Remember a time, used to be a time where I would be that second manager, and I'd go to the office and I'd stew on a response, and then a day or two would go by and I'd justify in my own brain not dealing with it because, gosh, a couple of days already went by. It'd be kind of harsh to bring it up at this late date. We'll see if it happens again. Well, as a rookie manager, that's all I knew. But as I developed in the management techniques that I found prosper, it was going towards that issue. Uncle Dick is absolutely right. You go towards the issue and deal with it. One time I heard that a technician was screaming at a parts department employee. And the moment I heard that, I just went to that technician's bay and I didn't say a word. I just looked at the guy. And it was a short period of time, a minute or two later, where this tech said, all right, let's talk about it. He brought it up. We resolved the issue, agreed that never happens again, walked over, apologized, shook hands with the guy in my presence, and then we discussed it, that's action's just not going to be tolerated. If he continues, he's at the wrong shop if he wants to treat other people like this. But do you see the difference? If I just let it go or have an excuse not to deal with it, and believe me, in management or supervision or us as individuals, we can develop all kinds of logical reasons if we stew on it not to deal with it. It's destructive to everyone. There's no benefit. You look at the downside. I always ask the question when I'm trying to explain good or bad practices. What's the downside of trying it? What's the downside of improving customer care? Well, there is no downside in working to improve customer care. There is no downside in dealing with it. Go towards the concern. I will share with you. I've heard a song lately, and can't tell you I memorized all the words or even who it's by, but it basically says we all have bruises, and if you think about that, man, is that the truth? No matter who you are, we all have bruises, history that has caused us pain, discomfort, left a bruise on our spirit, our soul, or our body. We all have them. But we all have issues as well. We have tendencies to behave a certain way in a certain situation. Now, these tendencies, if you look at them, you might see some of them in you. You might relate to the fact that you're the manager that goes toward the issue, or you're the manager that goes away from the issue. One of those two things rings a chord or a little bit of past experience with you. Well, if you wrote down, I challenge you right now, and you've got a pen handy or at a later time today, we all have issues. Write down your top 5. Man, if you don't have 5 issues in your life right now, I would say fantastic. What a wonderful situation to be in. Write down your top 2, or if you only have 1, write it down. Write down your issues, but not more than 5. Just your top 5 if you got them. Now I know when you have them written down and you look at them on a piece of paper, ask yourself this question: what can I do to get over it? What can I do to resolve this issue? It might be a process that you have to develop. Could be that the customers aren't picking up special order parts. And a lot of times people have certain processes they use without fail to deal with that, like setting the appointment when the customer picks the vehicle up that they need to have to put the part back on 4 days out. Best practice, works, not a lot of involvement, not a lot of detail, not a lot of parts personnel arguing with advisors. Are you working this list? We sent postcards. And then the issue gets resolved. If you look at the process of what's causing the concern, in ways you can be creative to deal with it. I'm going to give you some things to do. First, you got to write it down. If you don't have it in front of you, written down, so what's your chance of resolving it? Slim. Then review what actions are needed to resolve the issue. What specific steps can you take to overcome the objective, to overcome the obstacle? Write down what people or parties you need to have involved to set the new actions in play. And then review the progress of what actions you're calling on. You see, I have a belief that's developed over the years. Problems are like dogs. And if you've ever looked at the mailman, you'll know that if a dog sees a mailman, generally they are barking like the mailman's trying to take over the world, their world. And if a stranger comes into a house with a dog, generally that dog will want to bark and go towards the guest like they're going to chew its leg off. Well, if you have a dog situation in your past where you've seen this type of thing, there's two reactions that a person could have. First, tendency would be to turn and run, not face the dog, turn and run, or shy away from the dog, in which case you turn and run from a dog that's coming towards you barking. That dog's going to attack. But if you turn towards the dog and put your hand out, let it sniff you in a non-threatening way, generally within a short period of time, that dog will become your friend and will want you to pet it, lick your hand, whatever that is. So the choice is the same with a problem. See, problems are like dogs. If you turn and run away from a problem, if you turn and run away from an issue, if you choose not to deal with it, that problem, that concern, that issue will bite you. But if you take these steps that we're talking about today, you turn towards the issue with the idea set in place how to resolve it. We write it down, we review the actions needed, we involve all the parties we need, and we review the progress. They can become your friend, improve your operation, improve your quality of life. And in that regard, deal with it. Deal with it. So we can open the lines up. If anyone has any comments or suggestions, you can always push the number 1 on these calls. It will raise the hand with Mike. If no one has any questions, then we will see you again next week. So, Mike, go ahead, open up the lines.
The lines are completely open, everybody.
I like to call that being a leader, Rob, getting the troops behind you. You know, the first to fight. Go headstrong at the problem, and everybody will follow behind you, and you've just built the team stronger because now they're on your train.
You know, that's an excellent point, and the fact is that there are leaders that can over-respond too, where for example, you go out and the leader wants to yell and scream and thinks they're going to benefit the team, and that's leadership. It's absolutely the opposite. Good point.
Absolutely. Excellent. Think before you act, never react.
Perfect. I like that. Think before you act. Never react. I like that. Thanks for sharing that. Anybody else? All right then. Well, everybody have a wonderful day. Thanks for attending the call, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.